Okay. So the next topic is permission set. As the name says, permission set. So this also means a set of permissions, same like profile. The way profile has lots of permissions which we can manage within profile, same way you will find all those permissions within permission set as well. But we need to understand when to use profile and when to use permission set. So when we are creating user, we are assigning profile to a user so that user will get basic set of permissions. Okay? And generally to multiple users who need same set of permissions, to them we assign same profile. For example, all the user who belong to sales department, for all these users like U1 and U2, we assign same profile so that they will get same set of permissions. Okay. Then permission set is required when any user needs additional permissions which are not granted by profile of the user. As an example, let's say here for user U1 we assign sales department profile which gives user U1 access to account, contact and opportunity. Now there is a requirement from a business user saying that U1 should also have access to lead records for next 6 months. Okay. In that case, we will have to go for permission set. Within the permission set, we will have to grant access to lead object and then we can assign that permission set to user U1. So the question is, why can't we just enable lead object permission within the sales department profile itself? We cannot do that because if you enable any permission over here, it will be applicable for all the users to whom we have assigned this profile. So the requirement is only user U1 should have access to lead records, not U2. That is the reason you cannot make any change to sales department profile and we will have to go for permission set. So permission set is a component to enable additional permissions to a user which is not granted by profile of the user. So as we discuss about this requirement, user U1 needs access to lead object. For that, we will try to create a permission set. Okay. To create a permission set in quick find search box, you can search for permission set. Under users itself, you will find permission sets link. Click on this. Here you will find the list of permission sets. Then to create a new permission set, click on this new button. Then specify the permission set name. So we can just simply say object permissions. Okay. Then the way we make sure that the license associated with profile should match with the user, same way we will have to make sure we select appropriate license for permission set as well. So if you are going to assign this permission set to a user with Salesforce user license, then you need to make sure that for permission set also you assign Salesforce user license and then save. So this is the first step. The second step is adding or enabling required permissions. So we need to enable access to lead object here. We will have to go to object settings. Here we have different types of permissions or settings, you can say. Application permissions can be managed under assigned apps. Okay. Object permissions can be managed under object settings. Apex class permissions over here, Visual Force. So lots of types are there within which you can enable permissions. We will have to go to object settings, and then we want to give access to lead objects. So let's look for lead. Okay. Here it is. Click on leads, and then click on edit. And now whatever permissions we want to enable for lead object, we can enable over here. Read, create, edit. Okay. If you also want to make the tab visible, okay, leads tab visible for the user, you can also enable leads tab as well, and then save. So the second step is done, adding the permissions. Now the third step is assigning this permission set to user. So click on manage assignments, okay, and then click on add assignments. Here you will be able to select a user to whom you want to assign these permissions. So we want to assign these permissions to user U1. So select this user and then click on assign. You can say the message permission set lead object permission has been assigned to one user. Click on done. Now what will happen? U1 will be able to work on lead records as well. So we are already logged in with user U1 over here. So earlier leads tab was not accessible to a user. Now if we refresh, you can see leads tab is accessible. So leads tab is accessible now, and based on the permissions we have enabled within the permission set, we should be able to access the records. Okay, so this is how with the help of permission set you can enable additional permissions to a user. Now as I mentioned, these permissions need to be given to a user for next 6 months. So after 6 months, if you want to remove this additional permissions for a user, you can just go back to this permission set. You will see that to this user it is assigned. You can select this user and then click on remove assignments. Click on done. Okay. So permission set assignment has been removed for this user. Now If we again refresh this, okay, so you can see it is saying we don't have access, and the leads tab is now not accessible to a user, it's gone. So this is how with the help of permission set you can enable additional permissions to a user, and if it is required for uh, a certain period of time, after that particular time period you can also remove the access. So permission sets can be used to give temporary access or permissions as well to a user. Any questions?
No.
Okay. So as an assignment, now what you need to do is you need to consider the same example over here. Consider company XYZ. So the Salesforce org, which is, you know, with you, the free developer edition account. Consider that org is for XYZ company, and consider that there are 3 departments within the company. Accordingly, try to create these 3 profiles: sales department profile, marketing department profile, and support department profile. And then within every profile, just enable this required permissions, which I have mentioned over here, and then create one new user within the org. The way I have user U1, so same way you can just create one user, new user, except admin user, with Salesforce license, and all these 3 profiles as well with Salesforce license. And then to the new user, first assign sales department profile, the way we did, okay, the way we tested. So assign sales department profile first to a user, and then you will observe that user is able to access account, contact, and opportunity records only, not any other object records. Then you can check this permission set example we discussed. Okay. So create a permission set to give access to a user to any other object. Once you test that, then change the profile of the new user to marketing department profile. And then if you log in with that new user, you will observe that the new user is now able to access leads and campaigns and not account, contact, or opportunity. After that, again change the profile of the user to support department profile. Now you will observe that user is able to access cases and solutions and not any other objects. So this is how you need to play around in your org to understand the effectiveness of profile as well as permission set. Okay. So just try it out. It will give you a very good understanding on how the profile works and permission set works. Okay. You can also try to change the permissions within profile. So just enable the delete permission first for any object, and then just disable it and see user is not able to delete records. So try enabling and disabling permissions on the object and check with the new user how it impacts the new user. If you do this exercise, it will be very good for you in terms of understanding the profiles and permission sets effectiveness.